Hello, Kurt Jackson here with this week's installment of Your Money Matters. This week, I'm kind of trying to maybe do a little shorter one. I've got a short week this week. I've got going up to Maryville for the visitation and funeral of a good friend of mine that passed away this week. So this will be maybe a little shorter than usual, which is fine. Today we're going to talk about, it's an article that I found interesting. It's called How to Reduce Your Taxes on Social Security Payments. It's by Emily Brandon. She does a lot of good work with the U.S. News and World Report. And what I found funny was this, and don't get me wrong, all the stuff that we do, we try to help you, show you how to avoid taxes on Social Security and retirement. But what this tells me, and I'll go through some of the details of it, is that this is just more proof of the assertion that I've been trying to tell everybody for years now, that the current traditional financial planning model that we almost all of us follow is not working. It sucks, to be quite honest with you. So I want to, I've been trying to think about how to tell my story, and this is kind of interesting. The other night I was driving home with my oldest after a softball practice, and she's really into engineering, and she's thinking that may be the path that she wants to go, and we're kind of trying to talk about things. And I don't really know what engineers do, so I can't really guide her on that. And I said, I've never even been interested in engineering. And she said, well, Dad, the one day when she stayed home with, or when you take your daughter to work one day, she wanted to stay home from school, so I said she could do that, but she was going to have to work. So I taught her about what I do. And she said, Dad, what you did was really take the whole retirement thing and how everybody does it, and then reverse engineer it to figure out why it wasn't working. So my daughter has helped me to maybe tell a better story about what I do and why I do it. So basically, I did mortgages for 20 years, whether you know that or not. And what I found was when a person does a mortgage application, they tell you everything. They tell you more than they tell their financial planner most of the time, because they're trying to get something from you. A loan, where their financial planner, they may not 100% trust them yet, so they're not giving them all the information. So I had a lot of repeat customers. Okay, they would come back to me to either buy another house or refinance or whatever. So I got to see snapshots of their pictures, their financial picture, at several different points in their life. And what I found was they were doing all the things that we've all been taught to do, especially surrounding a 401k, 403b, 457, that employer retirement plan where you put money in, you get the match, and it'll magically give you enough money to retire on. But what I kept seeing was they were putting a lot of money in but not getting ahead. We had big losses in 2000 to 2002, and then again in 2007 to 2009. And when I saw that originally in 2000 to 2002, I started doing a lot of research, looking for why this was. Are there other alternatives? I found other alternatives. I taught my clients about them. They loved them. I tried to find financial guys to do them. They wouldn't do them. They would tell me they would do them, and then they wouldn't do them. And I got clients coming back to me in 2007 to 2009. I saw they lost money again after I'd sent them to these financial guys that had promised me that they would use the principles that I had learned and help them understand. But yet they didn't. So that's why I got frustrated. The real estate crash 2007, 2009, I decided, I'm going to get away from mortgages. I was tired of doing that. I could have gone any route I wanted to go. I could have gone the traditional route. It would have been much easier, quite frankly, because I wouldn't have to do as much education to help my clients understand why what they're doing won't work, because they've been told it will. So, once I got out, when I made that decision, I didn't have a company that hired me that said, this is how to think, because I think that's what happens a lot in the financial industry. I chose this through research. So when I was doing this research, I wasn't getting paid by anybody to find out these things. I just went and found out. I wanted to find out to help myself and my clients, because I had been doing the things wrong also. So what happened after I got out of the mortgage industry and started getting into this, I really started looking at it more deeply. And that's when I guess I did the reverse engineering, as my daughter so aptly put it, that really helped me understand why it's not working. I've got my opinions on things, and people can argue opinions, which is fine. But the biggest reason is if I did the things the traditional way, I would make more money. Okay, I don't make as much. I'm not sitting here saying I'm broke because I'm helping people do the way I do. I just don't make as much as I would. You don't pay me every year for the rest of your life, or the rest of the time you're my client. I don't get paid that way like a traditional guy does, and that's a big part of the problem, which you can find in some of my other things. So that's kind of my story. I just wanted to kind of, I'm working on refining that, and I just thought that would be a good, I wanted to share that with you. So hopefully that can help add some credibility to what I'm talking about, because like I said, when I made the decision to go this route, I didn't have a financial, somebody paying me to learn the information. I did it on my own, so I wasn't being forced in any direction. I could have gone any direction I want. This is the direction that I chose because I can sleep at night because I never have to worry about my clients losing money. All right, so we're going to talk about this article, and what's interesting is, believe it or not, you can pay taxes on your Social Security income. Now, Social Security income should be tax-free, but there's certain parameters that you can meet to make you pay taxes on it. We teach our clients how to get around that. There's a few ways to do that. But what I found was interesting in this is they said, 40% of retirees are paying taxes on Social Security. That's horrible. And it is, okay? But the story underneath it is, that means 60% of them aren't making enough money in retirement to have to pay for taxes, okay? So here's the deal. If you're single and you make $25,000 in retirement, now this is made up of, this income is the income you get from every source except for 3. The only one that traditional talks about is a Roth. So if you had income from a Roth, it isn't counted. But if you have municipal bonds, even though that's tax-free interest, it still counts towards this. So if I take all my income from all of those sources except the Roth and these other 2 sources that I'll get into here shortly, and half of my Social Security, okay, I have to begin to, if as a single person, if that goes over 25,000, I pay taxes on up to 50% of my Social Security, and if that goes past 34,000, I pay taxes on up to 85% of my Social Security. Now that's the most you get taxes, up to 85% of your Social Security. But think about that for a minute. 25,000, so that would be half of, if I had a $25,000 Social Security, so I take half of that as 12,500, and I had 12,500 in other income, that's 25,000. Now I'm paying taxes on 50% of my Social Security. So the maximum income I could have as a single person in retirement without paying taxes is 37,500. Do you think 37,500 allows a single person to have the retirement that they want, to be able to do everything they want to do in retirement? I don't. But 60% of people in retirement aren't to that threshold. For a couple, that threshold is 32,000. Okay, so that means that the most that a couple could make is 48,000 before they started paying taxes on Social Security. Do you think 48,000 is enough money and enough income in retirement for a couple to do all the things that they want to do? I don't. See, now these thresholds were set back in 1983 when that was a lot of money, but with inflation, that's not a lot of money. So what this is telling us, granted, the bottom line is you want to do things to avoid paying taxes on your Social Security, okay? And we teach that in all of our plans, try to minimize that as much as possible. If you come to us early enough, we can actually create a tax-free, a totally income tax-free environment in retirement. For you. So that's something that we can do. But their suggestions in here were to draw down your 401k, your IRA, all that money before you started taking Social Security. And that's not a bad strategy, and sometimes we utilize that inside of one of our strategies. But they don't talk about they mention a Roth in here, but they don't talk about putting more money in the Roth. They don't even mention the other 2 sources of income. Nowhere in this article, and that's because traditional financial planning has taught us that these 2 things are horrible, okay? And when I say them, most people are like, oh yeah, I would never do that. A reverse mortgage, that they get the worst publicity in the world, and most of it's deservedly so because they're not using the tool right. But when a properly structured reverse mortgage can provide a phenomenal tool for you in retirement, and if you pulled income off of that income does not count towards making Social Security taxable. The other is a properly structured permanent life insurance. Okay, which if you read stuff on the internet about that, it's all horrible. Oh, never, 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 never do that. But the thing is they're not telling you the entire truth about that product. They're taking all of the cons from term insurance, from variable life, from whole life, from universal life, from fixed index universal life, and telling you that every insurance policy has those things. And that's not the case. If that was the case, they would truly be horrible. But that's not the case. So it seems like they have the media behind them, and the media prints out misinformation that everybody believes is true. And this is what I uncovered in my when I went through that reverse engineering process with this. So those are the types of things that we talk about here. But ultimately what this story told me is if 60% of people aren't paying taxes on Social Security, because I know there's not that many of them using the types of strategies that I teach, that I've learned, that tells me that it's a failure. Okay, you want to know some more information on why it's a failure. You know that, okay, 401k has been around since late 70s or early 80s. Okay, that's what most everybody's been putting. And when I talk 401k, it's a 403b, 457 plan. It just depends on if you work in the private sector, if you work for the government, or if you work for a nonprofit. But they're all similar. So if that's been around for more than 30 years, people that are retiring now have had it for had the ability to put money into it for more than 30 years. And from the things that I've read, you know what the percentage of people that have $250,000 or more in their retirement is? 14%. 8% have $500,000 or more. And if you think 250 grand or 500 grand is enough to retire on, folks, you haven't taken a hard look at this. And that's why, okay, there are only 40% of people paying taxes on Social Security. Okay, because they don't have that money put away. They don't have the income. All right. Now, here's another sad statistic that I found. Average retirements are lasting about 21 years. Okay, but we're running out of money, not Social Security, but running out of our other money in an average of 14 years. So 2/3 of the way through, we're running out of money. Now we're living only on Social Security, and our incomes are way down. So does that sound like a retirement system that's working? It doesn't to me. So we teach our clients a whole different realm of things. And that's what all of these videos that I do and these Your Money Matters things, I'm trying to help people understand that so they can take action before it's too late. Because obviously, would you rather find out sooner or later? All right. It seems like we're a society that never wants to prevent. We just want to, when the fire happens, we want to put it out, but let's not do anything to prevent that fire. We do it with our health. We do it with financial. I mean, think about it. People. It's more important for someone to have a big cable package and a big cell phone bill than to buy life insurance to protect their loved ones. I mean, that's whack, as they like to say. So basically, I guess what I'm trying to do is just help alert you to these things, and I try to give a little validity on why maybe you would listen to me, and that's because I have done this without a financial incentive to get in. When I made the switch, I actually chose the route that I would make less money, would be harder to do, because I have to help people understand why what they've been told will work won't work. Okay, basically, in order for that traditional financial plan to work, you're going to have to be tremendously lucky. Okay, with the type of stuff that we do, really the only way that it's not going to work is if the market were to go down every year for the rest of our lives and never come back up. Okay, and if that happened, we're all screwed, right? So if the market just does what it's done, our plans are phenomenal, because you're automatically in position to take it to be protected when they're down, and to grab and to take advantage when they're up. Right. Plus, we have found the most efficient tools that I know of. Okay, and I've done a ton of research. The tools, financial tools, and strategies that will most use the best, safest, most efficient use of your money to give you the most of what you want, depending on what you want. But we got to know what you want so we can structure that plan to give you those things. So that's what this today. I guess it went longer than what I thought it was going to be, but that's fine. I always get rambling, and I apologize for that. But hopefully, I give you enough value in these that you don't mind some of my rambling. If you'd like to discuss this in more detail, you can call me 816. The number will be up on there, or you can email me. But if you'd like to schedule an online, they're called. I've got different sections. If you go on the schedule me .so / Kurt Jackson. If you in the Smart Retirement Strategy, and then just a Smart Retirement Strategy session, and book it. They're 15 to 30 minutes, and I don't charge for them. There's no cost or no obligation. We can kind of discuss these things, and I can put some things together to show you what it might look like for you. So thanks for tuning in. If you find value in these, please share them with your friends, family, those anyone that you care about. Just share the link with them. Thanks for tuning in today, and I hope to talk to you soon.